As we've discussed before, your word choice, your diction is going to be very important to your writing. But there's not a right word and a wrong word necessarily. It's what word is going to convey what you want your readers to think about. So I have this for a fun practice. People, of course, write to communicate. Sometimes we use fancy words, sometimes we use simple words to be clear. But we always want to kind of think about our audience in mind and what we're trying to accomplish with it. So I like the example. It says, what if, for example, someone asked you for a juxtaposition of two auricularis muscles in a state of contraction? Would you know you've been asked for a kiss? Or if you asked for your parents for a raise and allowance and your father said, your unflagging request of greatest remunerations are totally unrealistic and extenuating circumstance coerce me to preclude you from such extravagance, would you get it? Well, you might, because you understand the vocabulary, but it would be weird. So thinking about what the right word is to the right audience and the right moment is going to be really important to your writing. I also tell students, like, we oftentimes want to use this huge wide vocabulary to kind of show off that we are this smart and this or that, but that actually doesn't work very well. Some of the best writers use very concise, very clear language because what we really want to do is communicate. So rather than deliberately choosing long words or really short words, a writer strives to find the right word for the right situation. So you might want to use a thesaurus for this. You can just go to thesaurus.com, or maybe you have a hard copy left over from years ago. But a thesaurus will give you synonyms of words that mean the same thing, but again, have different connotations to them, which we know is very important to our writing. So we're going to do some practice here with some familiar tropes that are out. So remember the once upon a time there were three bears who lived in a cozy cottage in the forest? Well, for fun, we're going to rewrite the opening sentence without using any words with the letter O. So you have to make some substitutions, but the idea is to come up with a sentence that means the same as the original. Try to use your brain first, as always, but then use a thesaurus for help. The second one's even harder. After you write that first sentence, the second one's asking you to write that same sentence. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived in a cozy cottage in a forest, but this time omitting any words with the letter E. I find the second one much harder, and you guys can see my examples in the file that I linked for you. The second page talks more about adjectives, and adjectives sometimes are filler words. And so we want to make sure that our writing is writing with strong words. So instead of just filling with like interesting, super, or terrific, we just want to choose the best adjectives and avoid kind of vague descriptions. We want to be really specific with our word choice. So here, instead of saying like you owe me some money or you don't eat that awful food, maybe you owe me drug money, right? Don't eat that poisoned food, right? She had, and this or that. So as you go through, try to think about words in a new and different way and think about how they can really convey what you're wanting to say in your stories.